How do you do? Mr. Brian Peters feels it would be a little unkind to present this podcast, gravely amusing, without just a word of friendly warning. We are about to unfold an episode from the mind of Brian Peters, a fan of pop culture who sought to create a podcast after his own image, without reckoning upon God. It is one of the strangest podcasts ever listened to. It deals with two great fandoms of pop culture, humor, and horror. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if any of you feel that you do not care to subject your nerves to such strain, now's your chance to, well, we warned you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gravely Amusing, the only horror sci-fi history podcast that can be heard in space, even when we scream. I am Brian Peters.
And I'm Steve Cope.
Welcome to the graveyard, because you have stumbled upon the podcast where one pop culture historian, writer, and one horror-loving cousin put on their teaching caps and give you everything you need to know about a horror sci-fi subject in usually under 90 minutes, usually. What are we talking about today, Steve Weiser?
We're talking about Alien Romulus, which just came out, and we're gonna rank from Alien vs. Predators the whole way through Alien Resurrection, I believe. And yeah, give you our opinion on it.
Yes, sir. Now, what we kind of do here on Gravely Amusing is we kind of go chronologically through horror history, and we did classic monsters last year, and now we're kind of moving to sci-fi of the 50s and horror changes, and we also are talking about modern stuff as it comes out as we talk about the past. So, mixture of time and everything, whatever piques our interest. And we are huge Alien franchise fans. I know I am. I'm pretty sure Steve is too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, I have all the movies on Blu-ray. Hell, I have it on right behind me watching it. So yeah,
He
I love
does.
Alien.
Arguably, maybe one of the better ones, but we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
I have named. I mean, we named our cat Ripley after Ellen Ripley in the Alien franchise. So we are definitely Alien fans in my house, my wife and I. So let's get to it. So when Alien Romulus was announced, after doing Prometheus and Covenant, and Ridley Scott did those two, when Romulus was announced with Fede Alvarez, I probably butchered his first name. I thought, and I feel so stupid, and our listeners are probably going to say, "What an idiot!" But I thought that Federico Alvarez, his full name, I hope I said that right. I thought that he's the one that did Evil Dead Rise. He did not.
No, he did the one previous to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here I was thinking that, like, oh, he did Evil Dead Rise, and Evil Dead Rise was like so well received. So him touching Alien Romulus, like it's probably a no-brainer. Like that's why I got the job. But no, he did that Alien or that Evil Dead from 2013. I don't know. Right? It was like the first reboot.
Regardless, that Evil Dead movie was really good, and it had a female lead as the Ash role in that one.
Not in Rise?
No, the
Or in
one
the 2013?
Alvarez did.
Okay, because those are the two Evil Deads I don't think I saw. I didn't see Rise. So I don't do well with demon possession movies all the time. And like I was able to do Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2, and definitely Army of Darkness because it's more spoofy. But when I saw like Alien or Evil Dead Rise, I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, this is they're taking it like a whole new level, and I just haven't watched it yet. But I'm talking that's the wrong movie anyway, so forget it.
Yeah.
But but he did, yeah, he did that one, and it's fairly well received. And then kind of what sold me my interest was he said he was doing it between Alien and Aliens. And well, we'll get into it in a bit. But no no spoiler here. Steve, I'll let you go first. What did you think of Romulus? Do you think that it was hyped well? Do you think it delivered? What do you think about Romulus?
Um, well, I went in with expectations that it wasn't gonna be what it used to, what I remember Aliens and everything alike. But after watching it and everything, I think that he pretty much nailed it. Like gave me the same feelings as watching these old ones. The sounds were there, a little bit of the horror sci-fi, of course. And it kind of gave a like a kind of a story to it more, like a human story more. But yeah, I mean, well, I'll let you know my rankings, but yeah, I give it a pretty good rating.
I I had I had a lot of hope for it. Like so I have a rule where I only watch teaser trailers, and I went back to that rule. I stuck with it. When it came to Deadpool Wolverine, I watched all the trailers because you couldn't avoid it. It was everywhere. I was able to avoid this, so I only saw the teaser trailer, and it was feeling very Alien One. It was about the isolation, the old school type computer stuff, and their promotion with the face huggers in New York for the movie, just random people loved it. I mean, the poster is just simple. It's red background, kind of like almost ripping off the Batman, but it's just a face hugger on a face. Like that's all you really needed. And I kind of felt the Alien franchise in recent years has gone away. It's gone in a whole new direction and gone away from probably what made it great, which we'll get into. And I didn't have a lot of expectation with this movie. I figured it would be okay, but it probably wouldn't be that great. And I am pleased to say that it was better than what I thought it was going to be. And, and I'll leave it there right now. So, spoilers. They're coming. Okay. So, let's just go through the story here. So, and help me if I talk something out of order here. Okay, so the movie starts out with we see a kind of like a space probe of the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, and I don't remember in previous Alien movies, and it's probably because I just don't remember the Yutani name attached to the Wayland name. I didn't remember that in the original Alien movie. I know it was the Wayland Corporation
Yeah, I don't think that comes into late until later, I think. But yeah, I'm the same with you. I don't remember the Yutani part.
because the Yutani part was connected to Predator, wasn't it?
That's what I thought. I thought that was introduced in the first Alien vs Predator.
That's what I thought. Because I remember like maybe it wasn't at the end of Alien vs Predator Requiem. I can't even talk. The Alien vs Predator 2.
Requiem.
Rectum. So when it was released with Rectum, it had that scene at the end with like the lead of the Yutani Corporation with some like Predator tech, if I remember right, or some alien thing. I don't know, but I know that the Yutani had something to do with Predator tech, and I think that was the corporation that was that, like in the movie The Predator, like when they had the battle suit left over from the Predator, I think it was left with the Yutani Corporation. So I don't know if that's a hint right away that we're going to see some Predator stuff in the future. And I don't know. When we talk about our ranking, we can kind of get into that a bit, but I just don't remember the Yutani being part of it. But anywho, so the space probe investigates the wreckage from Alien 1, because this takes place right after Alien 1. It investigates the wreckage of the Nostromo, and it collects an organic object, like a rock floating in space, cuts it open, and there is our xenomorph from the first movie. And we know it's from the first movie because it has the grappling hook stuck in it. And so they take that alien, so we know they have it. Then we're introduced to like a mining colony, and we're introduced to this character, Rain Carradine, and I think her first name is like Marie, but her nickname is like Rain. And she's an orphan. Her parents were killed in these mines because remember in the first movie they were part of a mining colony as well. And also keep in mind this takes place after Prometheus. So going chronologically in these movies, it goes Alien versus Predator, Alien versus Predator, Rectum. What is the proper word, Steve?
Alien vs. Predator Requiem.
Requiem. Okay, so Alien versus Predator, Recreation, and and yeah, and that was supposed to happen like 2004 around that time. Those movies are not canon that we know of. They don't seem to be canon. So yeah, we'll talk about them, but they're supposedly not canon. Then we have in canon, we have Prometheus, then Covenant, then Alien, then Romulus, then Aliens, then Alien 3, then Resurrection. Okay?
And to add,
Yeah.
the Alien Isolation game is
Oh, yeah.
actually set in between Alien and Alien Romulus.
The game
Some
that
people even think that's a true, like, sequel to Alien, I've read. So just add that tidbit. I love that game, so
well, I saw my wife play it when it first came out, and it scared me and it scared her. And if you scare my wife, then you're a good game. So, because she's pretty tough, but
um,
and there's like a
I
clonal Marines game too, ain't there?
yeah, but
Lately,
those are just off the franchise. They're not, like, considered, like, in the timeline. And to get back to the Weyland-Yutani thing,
yeah,
in
yeah.
the
What'd you
wake
find?
of Peter Weyland's death at the hands of an angry engineer, which was in Prometheus,
Prometheus, yeah.
the Yutani Corporation snatched up the assets of the Weyland Corporation and created the merged Weyland-Yutani Corporation in 2099. So that's when that was
Oh,
brought in.
okay, okay. Thank you for that, because the Alien franchise is extremely friggin' convoluted. There's just so much going on. So
And do we count? Oh, sorry, never mind. I was thinking of Predator. Thinking of AVP, I was thinking of Predator. I was thinking of that new Predator movie where they were against an Indian tribe. It's on
um,
Hulu. I think it was
Prey,
Prey.
which
Yeah,
is
that's
uh,
Predator. Sorry.
one of the better Predator movies for sure. No, Prey doesn't count as far as I know. Yeah, I don't think so yet. So we're introduced to Rain, and Rain's an orphan. Her parents are dead. They're on this mine colony, and they have this like contract to work the mines, and if they work it so long, they're supposed to be free and basically be able to get off the planet. Well, in the movie, she goes and talks to this lady and is like, "Hey, my time's up. Did I miss something? Did I miss something?"
Yeah, you forgot they introduced her brother.
Oh, I was gonna get to that.
Okay,
I was.
because that happened before she met up with the worker lady.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, tell us about her brother.
Well,
Go
her
ahead.
brother, at first, I thought he was an actual person. And I just thought maybe he was slow or whatnot, telling all these cheesy
Yeah, I
dad
thought they were
jokes
going with an
and stuff.
autistic character, which is not.
Yeah. And then you find out when he's getting his butt whooped by a bunch of other kids while she's talking to the lady you mentioned, you find out that he's actually one of a droid, and she has to reset him and bring him back to life. But this continues the whole integration of droids in the and Alien franchise.
Yeah, I really, really like that touch. I like that. I like that because he was like an older model, and she actually like her dad was, worked on the androids, this synthetics, and he was thrown in the trash, and her dad went and took Andy, the synthetic, and programmed him with a directive to always do what's best for Rain. And I thought that was great. I liked that, he was kind of like thrown in the trash, and I liked that he wasn't as advanced, and how they kind of tie that like mental capacity to autism a little bit, but he was better for it because he had humanity and he had feelings and stuff. So him not being upgraded and wiping out that humanity, and in the Prometheus and Covenant movies, they, as Walter and Covenant, it mentions that we were taken. They took away some emotional things away from us to make us more better for corporate, if you will. And I really like how they did Andy. Yeah, I just really like that. And so Rain goes to this lady, and the lady pretty much screws her over in front of her face and adds time onto her because that's just what the corporation does. Like, you're not going to leave. You're just going to keep mining stuff for us. So Rain goes and to her friends, and one's like her ex-boyfriend, I guess. My caption device just stopped working in the middle of the movie. I didn't go to my usual theater. I went to see this in IMAX, where the AMC just doesn't care about many people ask for them, whatever. But anywho, so I missed some things, but I think like it was like Tyler, and he had a pregnant sister named Kay. Then there was like his cousin Bjorn, and Bjorn had a girlfriend named Navarro, and something like that. A good bit of diversity in the movie. But basically, they want to leave the planet, and they have this plan that they're going to go and find the spacecraft, or the space station above the planet, that is the Romulus and Remus. Refers to the Roman legend of Romulus and Remus. They're going to go break into this thing, steal the cryo chambers, and basically take the cryo chambers to go to this new planet. That's how they'll get it. It'll like put them in sleep and stuff. But they need Andy to go into the ship because only a synthetic can enter. Did I miss anything?
No, you're good so far.
Okay, cool. So when they find this stasis chambers and they go and break into this, they accidentally revive good old facehuggers, and yeah, if and it triggers a lockdown on the station. So to override this lockdown, Rain installs a chip from a damaged android that she finds on the floor, and the android's name is Rook. This android is face down at this time and ripped in half, and there's like dead bodies everywhere. And this chip from Rook, it's supposed to it not only grants Andy access to the station, but it's supposed to quote unquote upgrade him, kind of playing on that people, it's playing on the autism thing, like people with autism are not good enough. They need to be upgraded. They need to be smarter and normal, which I really did like, because there's nothing wrong with autistic people. They're a lot smarter than we are. and and I kind of like how they did that to be complete, he needed this upgrade, but the upgrade was not good for him. So I like that. I like that respect to people with autism. So as the group, oh, I'm so sorry. His prime directive also changes as he gets this new chip, which and the chip makes him loyal only to the corporation. Yes. So the group, flees the chamber. Face huggers are everywhere. I think they're like in the water. Like if I remember right, the first scene with the face huggers, they're all in the water. Like,
Well, what happens is they defrost and
yeah, you give it to
get
me.
out
Give me
of
it all,
their
buddy. You
they
remember
get
better than
jump
me.
out of basically like these vacuum sealed packages once they get heated up, and they end up jumping in the water, and it's playing on the old Alien style where you don't know where they're at. They're just kind of sneaking around and stuff.
Yeah.
And they start jumping at their faces. Luckily, compared to most people in these alien movies, they avoided it for quite a while. It wasn't just turn around right to the face. They were fighting them off pretty much. And I don't know about you, but I did like how they did these face huggers. Like it
Yes.
was a colony of ants or something. Was this they were running all or rats.
Yeah, they were more like high-minded,
Yeah, and they
like
moved quick.
so quick, like a whole bunch of spiders or ants or whatever you want to call.
So at
Yeah.
this point, they're fighting these things off while Andy's upgrading. And I don't know, does he hesitate at one point because of his new directive? Or does he go in and
He
open the
he
door right?
hesitates he hesitates when someone has
Oh,
a
that's right.
a xenomorph at the
They
door.
thought what, Navarro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe no, I think it was the pregnant lady, the pregnant chick.
No, it was Navarro.
Okay, maybe it
The
was Navarro.
pregnant chick actually gets I don't know, does she get one?
Well, they kinda, like, split the story halfway through the movie. They split it between the pregnant chick doing stuff and then the others doing things.
Yeah, I know Navarro gets the face hugger first
She
because
sure does, yeah.
they end up finding a way to freeze it and it jump off of her. But they
Yeah.
realize that, something's not right. I think it was on long enough. And this is where I think Andy doesn't let them out of that room, right?
You
'Cause
might be
there's a
right.
big fight where they wanna get to the ship and leave, and he won't let them because he knows, like, there's a possibility she could have an alien in her. So I
I
think they fight, they knock
That
him
probably does happen.
down, they go to the ship because the pregnant girl is sick on the ship, so she stayed on their ship. And
Oh, okay.
Navarro and her boyfriend, which is the cousin, actually
Oh,
gets
no,
by and
Rook.
gets their ship.
Rook's the one that warns them and says it may have planted a seed.
Oh,
I
okay.
think. I think.
So they end up getting the ship, and then yeah, that's how those two get out. The other ones end up getting chased down the hall by the big pack of facehuggers jumping around and doing everything. But yeah, the pregnant lady doesn't really get involved until a little bit later after this.
Okay. Sorry, I have horrible times remembering stuff sometimes. But yeah, Facehugger definitely gets to Navarro, and then because of that, that Rain reactivates that android on the floor, Rook, and we see Ian. Oh gosh, what's his name? The guy that played Ash in the original Alien. Seems is it Ian Malcolm? Is that his name? He was the guy that played Falcone in Batman Begins. In case people wondering what I think it's Ian Malcolm.
It is Ian Holm,
Ian Holm.
and I believe he played. No, no, he was
He played Ash.
Bilbo older. Yeah, the character of Ash.
Yes, in the
That
first one.
actor played Bilbo older
Oh, yes,
in
yes,
Lord of the Rings.
yes, yes.
So that's where he's from. But
Oh,
in
then
this one,
okay.
he has a different name.
Then he
His
didn't
name's
play it.
Rook.
Wait. Okay. Did he also play Falcone in Batman Begins?
That one I don't know. I don't think so.
Maybe. You know what? My skills. I'm horrible. I suck.
I'm looking now to see. No, I don't see Batman on his list at all.
Okay, so I confused the two actors because I suck.
He was a Lord of the Ring character mainly.
That's what matters. He was Bilbo.
Yeah.
Batman
And
Begins.
he has a different name from the first one. His name in Romulus is Rook, and
Yes,
in original Aliens, he was Ash, which I don't know if you heard, people were giving Romulus a little bit of crap because they brought him back with
I sure
the
did.
AI and stuff, but I later found out that Alvarez got permission and they got all the permission from the family to have him in that movie. The family actually said they would love him. He would love to have been a part of it. So I think that was kind of a
Well,
nice nod.
it definitely was. It was a nice nod. The actor I confused was Tom Wilkinson. Tom Wilkinson played Falcone on Batman Begins. I apologize. I messed up the two. They do look pretty darn similar, but that was my mistake. But why didn't they use Michael Fassbender instead of using this horrible looking CGI? Like at the more they showed Rook, it kind of cleaned up eventually. But those first couple scenes, it was like flash cringeworthy. It did not look good. It was rough. So what do you think? Like
Yeah, I think they wanted to do it this way, so it was a nod because this is a sequel to the original Alien movie. So they wanted to
yeah,
have kind of a face from that movie to kind of come over to this one. And like I said, that Ian Holmes has died, unfortunately. God rest his soul. But I thought it was a real good nod to have him in there as the robot Rook.
it 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 definitely was because we know that Ash is evil. And if this is Rook, like kind of modeled after Ash or on the same like level as Ash, we know that this guy's up to no good. But I don't know. Was it cheaper to use this CGI that was kind of rough than get Fastbender for a little bit? Probably.
I
Like,
don't know if it would have fit though.
yeah, but remember, David at the end of Covenant, David had those two embryos and he stored them away. And then the whatever chick's name, like he put her to sleep and like she realized it was David and not Walter. We never got what the heck happened to those two embryos. And well, in the movie Aliens, there is two embryos there. So we can assume that those two embryos eventually kind of went that way. But
Yeah, I read an article about that, like, why didn't they use that, and is this I think I sent it to you, maybe, a video of it, could this have been those,
yeah,
like, in that series, but I prefer the old classic guy to make a nod to it, just to reference the old rather than going back to the newer stuff, go back to the where it's supposed to be from.
I okay, I'll give it to you.
That's
I'll give
how
it to
I
you. My only
I
complaints the CGI was just a little rough.
Yeah.
Um, but I get it. So we see this Rook. Rook's bad, and they have like 48 hour. Well, oh, I'm so sorry. Also, the space station, they only have like 48 hours or 72 hours to do this mission because the space station is going to collide with the rings of that whatever. So when they run into these aliens, it throws the ship out of orbit and they only have like an hour to deal with everything. So yeah. So some alien jumps out of Navarro, which we know that. And some scenes that I can remember is there yeah, some of the scenes that I can remember, and I think it probably comes a little bit later than that. But there one scene that I thought was really awesome is when they blow up the facehuggers. Maybe it's the facehuggers or maybe it's some xenomorphs eventually. But when all the blood
Yeah,
and
that's later in the movie. That's, like, towards
okay.
the end of the
My
movie.
bad, my bad.
But
Okay.
to get where to maybe jog your memory, when the alien and Navarro are in the ship and the alien is starting, she accidentally hits the throttle on the ship and pulls it away, and
Oh,
it
yeah,
ends up
okay.
crashing into the cargo bay of
That's what happens.
the Remus side, or is it the Romulus side? I think it's the Remus side.
Remus, Romulus. Yeah,
Yeah,
probably the
it
Remus.
ended up crashing while the pregnant girl was with the Tyler and Navarro.
Okay. Yeah. Alright. And then they navigate the bay to avoid facehuggers. Kay escapes the Corbellin, which is the craft they use to get up there, but she's stalked by a xenomorph trying to lure other people into trap. And this is the scene where Andy refuses to unlock the door and won't put everybody at risk. And they watch helplessly as Kay is attacked and dragged away. And Andy also finds samples of a compound that scientists had extracted from the xenomorphs, which Rook calls this the Prometheus strain, which is intended to perfect humans. So I assume this is the black goo from Prometheus, hence the Prometheus strain. So it's tying to Prometheus there too. Now, Rook insists the samples must be brought to the colony and prevents the Corbellin from leaving without them. So he will not let them leave. Rain and Tyler rescue Kay from a cocoon, but Tyler's killed and Andy is incapacitated. So okay, so yeah, so this is the scene. This is the scene with the cocoon on the wall. Okay, this is gonna get a little adult here, so just to give everybody a heads up. So my wife and I are sitting in this theater, and this cocoon goes on the screen. And Jen and I look at each other, and this thing's attached to the wall, and somebody's inside it, and it looks like a straight vagina. And and I look at Jen, and Jen looks at me, and we're like, "Oh my gosh, that is just a big giant vagina," and and we just start kind of giggling a little bit, but nobody else in the theater is giggling. Nobody else in the theater is laughing. Like they are like focused, but Jen and I, being the comedians we are, we're like, "Oh my gosh!" Then to get the vagina open, the alien vagina, he takes a shock stick and he rams it in this alien vagina, and it looks exactly how you would think it does. and and he shoves it in quite a number of times, and Jen and I are laughing our asses off just how ridiculous and inappropriate this is. And it opens up eventually, and an alien well, they get her out, but and then an alien tail is jabbing out, which has taught us that sex is bad and it's yucky and it can and women can hurt you. The vaginas are evil. There you go. That's the moral of the lesson, and that's the end of the podcast. And that's what we learned today. But it was just a little too much. That scene was a little too much, and it was totally intentional, meant to be sexual, sexually, risque.
Yeah.
Um,
Me and
but
Emily thought the same exact thing as you did. As soon as it came in, I was like, "Oh my god."
we could not stop laughing because it was so it was like a 12-year-old wrote the scene. Like it just was so
Yeah,
oh
it
my
was,
gosh.
you couldn't mistake it for anything else, like,
No way.
anybody of right mind would know what was, yeah, so
Yeah, that was a little too much. So even though it was it was quite funny, they could have probably did that a little differently. But whatever. So yeah, so they get her out of the cocoon. Tyler is killed by the alien, though. Andy is incapacitated, and Kay, the pregnant chick, injects herself with the compound, the Prometheus strand, during their escape. And I can't remember why the hell she does it. Like, was she injured?
yeah,
I can't
she
remember.
was still injured from when she got stabbed with the tail. when
Oh,
Andy
yeah,
went and
okay,
rescued.
yeah, okay.
So
To
when
be put into the vagina. Yeah.
yeah. So when I believe it's her brother takes her back to the ship. Is it her brother that takes her back?
I think
Or
so.
does she get no, she
The
gets back
characters
on her
are
own.
Rain, then Andy the android, then Tyler, who's Kay's brother, and Rain's ex-boyfriend. So yeah, Tyler, but Tyler dies.
Yes.
And then Kay, the pregnant one,
Oh,
Bjorn.
here's where her and Rain get on the elevator, go up, and
Okay.
she tells the pregnant one, "Here's this, go to the ship and wait for us." Well, she goes to the ship, I guess she thinks it takes too long, and then she ejects herself.
Ah, okay.
Meanwhile, Rain goes down to go, and this is right after your scene that you mentioned earlier with the or no, yeah, she goes down to rescue Andy, takes out the shitty chip, sorry for my language, and gets him back to
You're
his
fine. You're
normal
fine.
self.
You're fine. I'm the one talks about an alien vagina and the dude ramming it.
Yeah. And gets him back to normal, gets him up and running, and then this is where your scene comes into, the one you were talking about earlier,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
when they're trying to
That was
escape.
probably my favorite scene in the movie. That was just really cool. So all the blood from these xenomorphs and you know the blood's acid. So this blood, okay, like the gravity keeps turning on and off in this ship too. So they decide to turn off the gravity and they kill the aliens as they're kind of like floating in space. This blood starts spiraling in there, and it's just floating in anti-gravity. So they have to get through this. So they like float through space in the anti-gravity and like twist their bodies to navigate not hitting this acid as the gravity kind of turns back on in the midst of it. I thought that was very cool. I thought that was a pretty cool touch, and it added a lot of tension, a lot of like, are they gonna get make it? They gonna get burned? What's gonna happen? Oh my gosh! Like it that was cool. I really like that scene. So yeah. So Rain returns to the Romulus and she helps Andy remove the control chip, getting the rook the heck out of his brain. And it gives his loyalty back to Rain. And they disable the ship's gravity in order to shoot the xenomorphs, like you said, and keeping their blood away from the hull, like we just talked about. And they make it to the core rebellion just before the station crashes into the rings, destroying Rook. And as Rain and Andy prepare for the trip to that planet they wanted to go to, Uvaga or something, Kay, affected by the compound injection of the Prometheus strand in her blood, she decides to give birth. And it's it's like all the other scenes from the past. And she gives birth to this like xenomorph hybrid that looks pretty much identical to an engineer from Prometheus, except it had a tail. Yeah, it had a tail, and it was just a little bit different. It was like a xenomorph hybrid with an engineer.
Yeah, it's like they mixed their DNA kinda to make what they thought would be a human upgrade, basically,
Yeah,
is what
whatever.
I think. I think that's how we get that weird haunting creature.
Yeah, it was weird. The hybrid does kill Kay, does injure Andy, but Rain manages to eject the creature into the rings of Saturn or the rings of Jackson, the whatever. She places Andy in a chamber, records a log about their arrival at Uvaga, and she goes into stasis, and the movie ends. So, good things about this movie. Go ahead, Steve. What'd you love? And then we'll talk about what you hated, if anything.
I liked how they kept the whole thrilling from the first movie, Alien, where it's really a singular alien for a little bit in Romulus, and then you get the massive close to the end. I like that. The sounds fit perfectly. They use those old computer sounds, all that. I mean, I would say this was an Alien movie for the Alien fans. is how I would probably put it. Like it had pretty much everything from the Prometheus, if you just like the Prometheus stuff, if you like the old alien stuff, like merged together and fit real good. And it kind of kept it could scare you. It was science fictiony. Like there was hardly the only thing wrong, I guess, would be like you said, the CGI a little bit. But other than that, I thought it was a really good movie, really good alien movie. What do you think?
I really liked it. And kind of pretty much everything you said. I think it's like Fide. Make sure I said his name right. Yeah, Fide. Federico. Yeah, it's pretty much like Alvarez just studied everything that's been done and was like, what's good about this? What doesn't work? And he took everything from the Covenant Prometheus movies, like, okay, this, let's work with this. He worked with he pitched this to Ridley Scott before Ridley Scott was like, yep, that'll work. Because Ridley Scott, has all this mythology. Even, sorry, I had a brain fart. You know, the Alien story was created by Dan O'Bannon and Ronald Shusett, or the guys that wrote it and created it. But Ridley Scott directed it, and at least the first movie, and kind of helped with that mythology. And he did Prometheus and Covenant too. And then of course James Cameron, one of the greatest directors, took it to another level. But it took the best of that. It took the best of the original Alien. It took the best of Aliens. It was a really good mixture of just everything that has come, and it had something for every single Alien movie that came before, and it did it so well. It had the isolation feelings. It had those scenes that just made you uncomfortable. It had you those scenes where you don't know where the aliens are. You don't know where they're going to come from. The designs of the xenomorph, were based off the original. I think the original people actually worked on it. Could be wrong. And pretty darn sure.
Walter Hill was the same producer on both.
Okay. Okay.
Um, Other than that, it was Wrigley Scott, Michael Pruss, and Walter Hill were the producers on Romulus. And Walter Hill is the only one that came from the original Alien movie.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
So I just, man, I like it. It just really took the good stuff, but I think my only complaints of this movie or the CGI of Ian, just a little. It was very flash, and like it was nightmare fuel a little bit. It wasn't crisp, and the third act and that final battle, the engineer morph or whatever morphineer, mighty morphin alien ranger. It just I didn't like it. I don't like it going in that direction. I don't want more. Good.
It kind of reminded me of Alien One, how she actually got rid of the alien that was trapped on with Sigourney Weaver and Ripley. It kind of gave me that vibe. Like it kind of ripped it off. Like I wish it would have
That's what
done
my wife said.
a little bit differently. But yeah, it was kind of like a lackluster. Like, hey, chase me, boom, eject, you dead. Like there was no actual like fight. Like I would have liked to see them. I know it's an unfair fight, but like the alien get a hold of her and maybe like the ship turns and it bounces. Like a fight scene would have been nice.
Yeah. My wife's opinion of the movie, she's like, yeah, the movie overall. My wife said, my wife's a very hard critic. To get her to even go to some movies with me, It's very hard to do because most of the time she's like, I'll just rent it, whatever. but I'm a big movie guy, so and I love the theater experience. So Jen was just like, it Ripley used fire. This one is going to use some ice. Ripley ejected a damn thing. This one ejects the thing. It's just the same beats over and over again. My wife said. My wife said that there really wasn't. She's like there was nothing really new. Like the characters, the android was likable, but the characters are overall forgettable, is what she said. My wife said with Ripley, especially how Ripley changes from the first movie to the second, we see growth. We see a total difference in character from Ripley and Alien to Ripley and Aliens because she gets more confident. She cares about new. She still cares about everybody. She's trying to protect everybody. That's still like a bit of her core of who she is. But you see that trauma in Aliens as well. In this one, there wasn't anybody that just was like really memorable, except maybe Andy. Andy was a little bit more memorable, but my wife's a
So you're not
harsh critic, so
you're not gonna remember Dora the Explorer? The actor that played the pregnant lady played, I think, the live action Dora the Explorer.
see it. I didn't even realize that.
Dora gave birth to that Prometheus haunting monster. But I would
So
like
Lord
that
Zed,
my
we'll just call it Lord Zed.
yeah. I saw this movie with my wife and daughter. My
Yeah,
daughter mentioned to me, "Do you think the Prometheus lore whatever you just called it, survived? Because you don't see a body, and we thought in the first Alien, when that alien got ejected, it was dead. Do you think that they could bring that creature back?"
I think they absolutely will.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, because my daughter had that.
and I think they'll probably bring back Fassbender in the next one. I really do.
Yeah, if this one makes enough money to warrant another one, what direction would you go though? Because if this is the second to Aliens, the third movie is already made, unless this splints off to another part and you follow this lady then.
Well, this movie
So
can
it's
stand
kind of like
alone.
a multiverse thing you got going on now.
Yeah, I mean, this movie can stand alone. I'll talk about what I would do next after we rank these. So let's get into our ranking. So we like Romulus. Romulus is worth a watch. I
Yeah.
think
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
it's one of the best movies I've seen this year, if not the best.
Yeah.
I thought it was well. I haven't seen a whole lot of movies in theaters this year. So in theater ways, I think it was better than Godzilla X Kong. I think it was better than Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire. I think it was. Oh no, I'm so sorry. It wasn't better than Deadpool Wolverine for me.
There's
Um,
where I was getting you. I'm like, wait a minute, the
my
best
apologies.
movie?
My apologies. My apologies. My apologies. It was better than
It's okay.
Twisters. And yeah, you heard it here. I thought Twisters sucked.
I never saw it, so, like, if it wasn't bringing back Helen Hunt or anybody from that previous
Yeah, what
movie,
are we even doing here?
yeah, like, I didn't see you saw it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Did it bring anything or mention anything about the first one?
The only thing that it mentioned was Dorothy, like the creation, but didn't say that Helen Hunt's character Joe, or that they created it. They made it seem like it
Like,
was this
how do you advertise a Twisters movie and not have anybody in it?
nobody,
But, yeah.
nobody.
Yeah, I
And
would
then
say this movie's second best so far this year.
what's your
Alien Ro
number? Yeah, number one, Deadpool Wolverine.
Oh,
Yeah,
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 obviously.
yeah, yeah. I I have. I mean, in a couple weeks we'll be talking about Beetlejuice, and Beetlejuice. I think that the Beetlejuice has potential to maybe top it.
It
If
worries me.
yeah, we have a right to be worried. But I only saw the teaser trailer, so but I've seen promotional things with Fanta, and I'm like, who are these characters? Like, what's this? But I saw the sheets, when I went to visit my mom and you and stuff. Yeah, well, we'll see. The Crow, which is the next thing we'll talk about. Hopefully, when we get to see it, I'm worried more about that than I am Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. So, yeah.
Yeah,
But
Beetlejuice has that, Michael Keaton coming back, kinda like what The
Tim Burton
Flash,
back, yeah.
but yeah, Crow is going in a whole different direction in my eyes, so yeah.
And
But yeah,
people can tell me that it's going to be more like the book and how James O'Barr really wanted it to be, but boy oh boy, I don't know. I don't I think that, well, we'll talk about it when we get there, but all I'll
yeah.
say is that it shouldn't be Eric Draven this time. It should be somebody else. It should be a whole new thing. That's just my opinion. So moving on, let's rank these dang movies. So let me pull up my letterbox. If any of you guys have letterbox, you can find me on there under Man Child Steel. So let's get to it. So I'll have you go first, and then I'll go, and then we'll go back and forth. Sound good? Sound good?
Yep, sounds good to me.
All right. So there are one, two, three, four. Yeah, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine alien movies. Some are
And we
cut.
are counting the AVP movies, the 2
Yeah, yeah,
AVP.
yeah. They're not. I mean, I wouldn't consider them canon at this time,
Yeah,
but
but they have Alien in it.
it has an alien in it. It's an alien movie. So, all right, you go first. Number 9, Steve-O.
So we going worst to best then?
Yeah, worst to best. That's how we always
Okay,
do it.
Alien vs. Predator Requiem. Yeah, it's just an all-around bad movie, like, it doesn't make sense. Like you said, you can't really see. It's like and yeah, that's the worst. So yeah, that one's 9.
My choice for number 9 is also Aliens versus Predator Rectum because it is straight out of a rectum. It I don't Shane Salerno is the guy who wrote this movie. It was directed by Greg and Colin Strauss, and I don't know what the heck that they directed before it. I think it was their first movie, but yeah, I think it was their first movie. This movie's god awful. Like, we get a decent movie, somewhat, of Alien versus Predator. Good story, good build with this temple, and like the aliens are made by the predators to be like hunted and stuff. And like we get that, and then the movie ends on like a cliffhanger of like the alien predator being mixed together, and then we get this, and you can barely see the movie. We get all these like teenage love story characters. It's in Colorado, and like it's the only movie that really gets into the aliens being on Earth and exploring that and stuff. But you can barely see the movie. It's so dark. It's darker than a DC movie, and like just literally darker than a DC movie, even and not just figuratively. Like, it's trash. It's garbage. Solid number 9 from both of us. I would not watch this movie. I would totally like skip this movie. There's nothing good or worth it in this movie. It's one of the worst movies ever made. Just period.
Yes,
Period.
agreed.
All right, you're number 8.
My number 8 is gonna be Alien Resurrection. I love the way Alien 3 ended, and by just bringing her back as this human alien mother, this fell flat. I mean, you got Ron Perlman in there, you got Winona Ryder in that, you got some big guy with dreadlocks in it, and then you got this weird mechanic looking dude. And it just I mean, there was some good scene shot, like, I liked when you saw the aliens swimming under the water and then building up speed like a shark jumping out of the water in the one scene, but I think it didn't have it, like, I don't know, by bringing Ripley back just ruined it for me at least, so, yeah.
I completely agree with you because my number 8 is Resurrection. Our list might be almost identical. It could possibly be identical. Um,
Yeah.
Resurrection. I have only watched this movie once, and it was came out, so 20 some years ago. I I don't remember a crapload of it except that she was a clone and Ron Perlman's in it and stuff, and she's like good at basketball now, and 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 wasn't it like it wasn't Winona Ryder the android reveal?
Yeah, she was the Android because she ended up pulling, like, a vein out of her wrist, which acted like a data cord,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and plugged it into the system to search for and, like, get the aliens to go a certain way, so you yeah, just all around didn't make sense, like, I don't know, that's what it's not as bad as Requiem, but this only thing that saves it is some of the shots of the aliens. That's anything I would say about it.
But wasn't like and then like she's like a super power clone because she has all the alien DNA mixed with her, right? She's like all
Yeah, she
superpowers and stuff.
actually bleeds acid too.
Okay, I remember that. That was in the basketball scene, right? Like she gets hit in the
Yeah,
nose.
because she gets hit in the nose, and then I'm pretty sure that's how she uses to another kind of Prometheus type alien. She rubs the acid on a window, and it basically gets sucked out a tiny quarter-size hole from the butt on to kill it.
Okay, I forgot all about that, but I remember there was this weird looking humanoid type alien that gets in
That's
her face and
the
stuff.
her baby.
That's her. Okay, so they're pulling. So with Covenant, they're pulling the same type of similar thing. Like, okay,
Basically, yeah. But instead of scientists, human scientists, they're this advanced engineers doing all this.
okay. Um, yeah, I'm gonna watch it again within the next few days, but
Like,
I'm I'm
there is
I'm still gonna
some
put
good
it in that ranking there as not that
yeah.
great. All right,
Mm.
all right, number 7.
We'll go with AVP, the first Alien vs. Predator. Again, it had a good story. It was set in this remote area in Antarctica where you don't know what's going on. They found this temple, and then you realize that, like you said earlier, that the aliens are just there for them to practice or to see who's the strongest of the predators. So you got some good action scenes in that movie between the aliens and the predator. You get to see what happens when a predator gets a face hugger put on it. But other than that, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's good enough to watch. I would watch it, but yeah, I would just rate it there. There's too many good ones to I have rated above it, so that's where I have to place it.
Interesting. Okay. This is where our lineup changes, uh, as it should. My number 7, I have Alien 3. I
What?
and it's probably because and I put it there because like I don't remember ever seeing it. It's like I'm gonna see it probably later tomorrow, but I remember her like just being stuck in prison with all these
Yeah,
dudes.
basically, she ends up on a prison planet.
Okay.
And, of course, there's aliens there. But, I mean, it gives it, like, a perfect send-off for Ripley. And that's why when I said resurrection shoulda never happened, I just think it gives it because all you see is her falling into a
The
vat of lava as an alien is coming out her chest
like a Terminator
to
2.
prevent the corporation from getting that alien in her. She sacrifices herself in a vat of lava as alien bursts out of her chest.
Okay, these rankings could change, everybody. In our next episode, if my rankings changed, I'll let you know. Um,
Mm.
I want to get all these movies done, but I have 2 more movies to watch: Alien 3 and Resurrection, and I just didn't get to them yet. Busy life, busy life. Okay, but yeah, Alien 3 is my number 7 as of right now, which will probably change because I respect your opinion. A lot of people give Alien 3 a lot of crap. So, it might change because I'll look at it from, an actual Brian perspective instead of what everybody thinks perspective. So yeah, my rankings. Yeah, you might say another what, but I have reasoning. So all right, go ahead.
I'd probably
Your number
put,
or your number 7. Did you say your number 7?
I had
You did.
Requiem, Resurrection, and AVP. So I've done
Okay,
3.
so you're on number 6. All right. Well, what was so your number 6? You put 5 and 6, Alien and Prometheus kind of together, but
Covenant and Prometheus, but if I had to put them in an order, Covenant would be 6, this would be 5.
Prometheus ahead of Covenant.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. My 6 is Prometheus, and my 5 is Covenant. And I put Covenant above Prometheus because I think those look a little bit better. There's a little bit more. There's a little bit more alien thing in there. I like I I'm okay with the idea of like David still being and that he killed Shaw and experimented on her. Like that evil thing is fine. I also like Danny McBride as in there. I think
Forgot he was in it.
Covenant has a little bit more action. Danny McBride from Eastbound and Down, but okay. I rank these movies lower because I I think the Covenant that we get into the problem of what the problem that they're kind of getting in with the Joker now, and we're going to be doing it like a Joker podcast in October, but and more that you reveal something that's scary or something that's unknown, then the less scary it is. And the more you kind of ruin what you're doing. So, one, we don't know where the line comes from. We don't know where this A comes. We don't know why it's there. We don't know what the deal is. And this alien hatches Kane's face, pops through his chest. We learn that okay, face hugger to humans plants a seed, pops through the chest, freaking terrifying. But we start adding in this like searching for God's story, adding immortality. Like we want immortality and we want, the meaning of life. And not to mention Chris is much a beat for beat of Alien 1. Just about. But they don't spend so much time in the ship. That's the thing. Like they take the first movie and put it mostly on the planet. And what happens in the first movie? Oh, we got a distress call. We go to this planet. We land on the planet. Prometheus searching for answers. So that's why they're not distress. But they go there, they find, two men get infected, which happens in Covenant. So Covenant's a repeat of Prometheus. and then infected, they go on the ship and that some science officer is like, no, don't put them on the ship. In fact, everyone, just like in Alien 1, just like in Prometheus, just like in Covenant. And then, like, oh, we got to get rid of them. And then Prometheus, they set him on fire and kill him. And Covenant, they get rid of him, or he comes on the ship just like in Alien. It's a beat for beat, same freaking movie. And then the synthetic's evil. Just like in Alien 1, just like in Prometheus, just like in Covenant. It's the same movies, man. And we just add in all this explanation and take out all the tenseness and whatever. We make it all philosophical and intelligent and stuff. No, get that the hell out of here. All we need about the aliens is that they exist, they want to kill us, they're coming for us, and we need to kill them. That's all we need.
Yep.
And like that's it. And corporate greed like wants to make them a weapon. And like and I love how the corporation just doesn't give a shit about anybody. And like which we'll talk about in the bit because we haven't got to the movies yet, which we probably rank higher. But that's my 5 and 6. Number 4, Steve.
Where Alien 3 would come in for me. Yes, I said it has the perfect ending to Ripley's story, I think. Like you said, the jail planet kinda doesn't make sense. Like, why I don't know if they I haven't seen this movie in a while, so I don't know if there was a thing before, or did the movie just start as her on this prison planet? So, with Alien 3 as I put it as my 4th, like I was mentioning, just the prison planet, she's bald. Like, I don't mind, but, like, why is she in this prison planet? I might have to rewatch it, it may tell me, but
Oh no,
the only thing
Alien 3 was supposed to be right after Aliens, so I don't remember.
I mean, I have it in the background, I'll see how Aliens 2 ends, but,
Yeah.
um, yeah, there and this the only reason it's at 4 is because the other movies are better, so I had to put this one here.
That's fair.
So, that's why it ends up being my number 4. So,
That's fair. And possible controversial pick. I'm sure one of my friends will message me and say, "What?" My number 4 is AVP and Alien vs Predator. And the reason it is, okay, the reason it is because I need to watch the other ones. I need to watch 3 and Resurrection. But the reason it is because the xenomorphs are formed. There's no like exomorph, neomorph, or whatever extra crap. It's the straight xenomorphs. The story works for me with it being like we found something in the ice. We need to get to it first. Whaling Corporation's on it. We don't we don't really see this like needing to find the meaning of life type garbage or whatever. It's just we found this. What is it? Let's go for it. And we can be rich, whatever. That stuff makes sense. It goes with the corporate greed thing. I like the idea of the xenomorphs being created for like predator hunting grounds and stuff. I like that because that can tie into the Predator franchise and how that works, with them coming to Earth and kind of, in Prey and in Predator and Predator 2, them coming to Earth, maybe the xenomorphs weren't ready yet. They need to hatch more, so that's why they're testing humans and stuff. Or they want like really good human hosts to host the xenomorphs, maybe that'll make it better. Whatever. I kind of like that idea. It has more action. It doesn't take itself so seriously. It's just a bit funner movie, and it works for me. It's not perfect. It's not written that great, but like action wise, it just works. So I rank it as my number 4. All right, what's your number 3, Steve?
I'll put Aliens 2, and it's a great film, and it falls there because there's 2 more better than it. I mean, there's nothing I can't say about it. I could say Ellen Ripley is a freaking badass in this movie. Like you said, she gains her confidence from the first one. She knows what she's getting into, so she knows what's happening, and she cares. She ends up finding Newt, which do we find out what happens to Newt? I think I don't remember if she may die while in
It's
stasis or
explained in Alien 3,
okay, I have to
but
go back and rewatch it.
I don't remember what happened.
But, I mean, she's a badass. You get to see, the Terminator guy. What was the Terminator that they
Kyle
wanted.
Reese.
Yeah. You
I
see
don't
a
know his real
Kyle
name.
Reese.
He's Kyle Reese
Yeah.
for to me.
You
He
see
plays
Bill
some guy named Hicks.
Paxton in this.
Bill Paxton's all game over, man. Game
Yeah.
over. Who's
So,
that?
I mean, it just
Paul
follows.
Reiser is the
Huh?
bad guy. Paul Reiser is the bad guy, man.
Yeah. The corporate guy. And you even get who was the droid in this one? This was the guy who played
The
Wayland.
guy, I know him from Millennium, but he's also an AVP
Yeah.
because he's like the original Wayland founder.
Yeah, that's what yeah, he's the original, but if you remember right, that they end up changing that. Oh, Lance Erickson, sorry, that just came to my mind, that's the name.
That guy.
That it was Guy Pearce that played a Wayland in
They
Prometheus.
do. Yes.
So I mean, this
That's why
movie had
AVP is not canon, but whatever.
yeah. Another thing, this movie, the one thing that scared the crap out of me is when Lance Erickson as the robot crawls through that tiny ass tunnel. Oh, I hate tight places. Ugh, that scared me more than the damn aliens. So, yeah,
Nice.
I'd rank this number 3, right? Yeah,
Number 3.
this would be my number 3 ranking.
All right, my number 3 is Romulus. I I mean, Romulus is really great. It mixes pretty much the best parts of everything. It doesn't delve into the whole like why we're here thing. I don't think these movies need to be overly philosophical. I like it being like these are a bunch of kids that are just trying to have a better life. They're trying to get out of there and they stumble into something bad. But I rank it number 3 because it's still kind of copying the same damn frickin' story tropes of Alien and Prometheus and Covenant. Like, there's nothing new, totally. And that's okay for now, but the next one, you need to change something. You need to give me something new, which I'll talk about in my future hopes after the ranking. Okay, number 2, Steve.
Number 2 is gonna be Romulus for me. Like you said, it has everything in it. I like the nod to Rook looking like Ash and bringing that character to this movie to connect them. The CG, like you said at the beginning, was kinda but I just think it hit on every note, just like what my number 1 is gonna be,
Might as well
and
just say it right now.
yeah, and it's I mean, it's Alien, but it brings the Prometheus story more into it compared to the older ones. And as an honorable mention, I would probably rank Alien Isolation, the video game, number 2, and then Alien, if it would to be added.
Ooh.
Because Isolation I mean, I love space horror. I love the Dead Space, I love Callisto Protocol, Alien I mean, this game hits, and it scares the crap out of you if you're even if you're playing in the daylight. So, I would put that in there as a 2nd, but yeah, Aliens
I'll
would be
allow it.
number 1.
I'll
Aliens is
allow it.
number 1, Romulus 2, Isolation 1.5.
That's fair. My number 2 is original Alien. That movie, it does take a bit to get going. It does. As it builds it's building as it builds the tension and it gets there. I watched the director's cut with some deleted scenes and stuff, which adds a bit more to Ripley's character and her being like, why the hell is this brought onto the ship? Like, I said no to bringing Kane on the ship with the alien hugger, on his face. It 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 gives a little bit more character to Ripley, and of course, the twist of Ash being a synthetic, working for the company thing was just a great twist, and it explains why the alien was allowed on because the company wants that alien, and it's all part of the plan. I I like that, and then I do kind of like it just being that one alien because you don't know where it is and it adds a bit more simplicity. Sometimes less is more, and it adds kind of that stalker slasher type thing of like this threat, it can be anywhere and it's coming for you and it's not going to stop until it gets you. And that tension is just really, really good. And I like just the classic look of the 70s, 80s movies. I mean, yeah, I grew up with it, but there's just something just so nice about the simplicity of animatronics and it just works. But my number 1 is Aliens because I it's just like it's just I don't know. It's just kind of it's just kind of better for me because Aliens focuses on the trauma of Ripley of losing all her people and how she wants to protect Newt because she couldn't protect her crew. Like it's kind of on that. And then and Ripley has been asleep for 57 years. Like she never got to get married. She never got to have a family. So her taking care of Newt like is kind of like her getting to have that motherly thing if she wanted it, you know. She can be whatever she wants. But we see this change in her that like the corporation is not going to take care of this problem. The corporation wants to keep this problem going, you know, and Paul Reiser with his sneakiness of like, oh, you know, there's no aliens. You know, that was just a like a it was just a rock. There's no aliens, you're lying. And then right after she says there's aliens, they're like he's like, well, we put a colony there and we're not hearing anything. And you put a colony there because there were aliens. And and him wanting to and get Newt and Ripley infected so he can take their bodies with the alien embryo in them, get through customs, bring it back to the planet, and just like they just don't care. Like Paul Reiser plays that role so good of the sleazeball, and then like the first hour is a good bit of build. Like it can be slow a little bit, but once that hour's over and we get introduced to Newt and all hell breaks loose and these Marines are kicking ass and they're blowing stuff up and they're like, oh, what are we gonna do? Game over, man, game over. And just Ripley learning how to shoot the gun from Kyle Reese, you know, because Kyle Reese, once he was done with Sarah Connor, he went back to the future and he met Ripley and like, yeah, I'm gonna create two great franchises and like, this is what we need, man. Like, take the fight to the freaking aliens, man. And like, I'm just gonna throw in what I think the future needs to be. I think the future needs to, of this franchise needs to be more like aliens, more like how Cameron did it. Like, why aren't we going and taking the fight to the corporation? Like, I think we need to the next step of the movie is that we try to put an end or the future of the franchise should be to put an end to the Wayland Corporation and all their corporate greed and how they're hurting all these people and keeping them on these mines. What are they even mining for? What's the whole point? What do they even need a weapon like this alien to fight? Is there a greater threat? Like, we don't even know, man. We don't even know why they want this as a bioweapon. Like, let's get into that. Let's get into taking the corporation down once and for all. Are we going to use these aliens to take down the corporation? Who knows? Let's get more Marines and stuff because we only have this one movie of aliens where we're taking the fight to them and Starship Troopers, you know, ripped it off. But where we're taking the fight to them and we're kicking ass and we're taking these down. Everything else is a horror movie, which we love. That's the whole point. But like let's get that tension of it's a threat, we need to take it down, and is there a bigger threat out there than xenomorphs? And that's why we needed that power of the xenomorphs to fight it. What is secrets is the Wayland Corporation hiding? Like, what do they know? That's where I would take it. And I'm Brian Peters. Hi, Steve. What do you want to do? Where do you think it should go?
I think what you were mentioning about taking it to the Wayland Corporation and all that is a good idea. Now, I would like to add the thread. Do you think that the Predator is the greater threat and that they could bring back and maybe redo that alien predator type thing and get that let them fight moment, kind of like Godzilla and the Mutos? Like, could the Predators be the greater threat?
Well, you could run into a problem. So I mean that you could go with that and make, you know, and kind of tie things into to be more canon, but it's a double-edged sword here. Like it could either really help things by tying the mythology truly together in canon, or it could hurt it. It could cheapen the franchise. Because for us, while we like, Godzilla versus Kong, as we talked about earlier this year, we like those movies, but we love the Godzilla on its own horror movie. We like it better. It's better. So if you make the predators the bigger threat, I mean, you have to be careful. Like, but then you got to think, where the heck are you going to go with this? There's only so many times so far. You've done it 3 times, 4 times of doing a story where, hey, we're on a spacecraft, we're alone in space. Hey, let's go check out this center that maybe it has something we want there. Maybe it's a paradise. Oh, hey, there's an alien egg. Oh, hey, the alien's after us. Like, there's only so many times you can do it, and they've already done it like 4 damn times, man. So, well,
Yeah, I mean, other than just rebooting everything completely again and starting over fresh and all that, and going back to the one single alien hunter and make it more like Isolation, the game, where not only are you dealing with this one alien, but you have more droids working on a big station that could attack you. You have, if it's an abandoned station, you have the human aspect being a bad, where they just went rogue on this station and maybe add like a cult type thing where they kind of sacrifice strangers to these aliens.
ah, okay.
You know what I mean? And then do that type of thing, and then there's where you can bring it back to the more, like, tense situations where, like, if you're watching the movie, you think in your mind that if you breathe, that alien's gonna freaking hear you. Because I know in the video game, it does play off if you're running a mic, if you breathe, that alien's gonna hear you. So, like, bringing that type back, I like that more often. It got too much when you got all these aliens, and not to mention, I think Aliens 2 brings the Queen into it, and we get that epic
Yeah,
neck first
because they asked the
between.
question, where the hell the eggs coming from?
Yeah,
So yeah,
so
it ends with the queen. Yeah,
I would say go back to single alien and maybe, like, throw, like, the cult thing, like, a kind I don't know if you ever played Dead Space?
yeah,
Kinda like
just a
that,
little bit. Yeah.
but instead of a marker, it's an alien. You know what I mean? And then the alien ends up turning on the cult, killing them, and then comes after you, and then, you know, there you go. You got your start to go branching out from there.
No, I don't. I don't think they should reboot it. I mean, well, I mean, we have to see. We have to see how Romulus does. I mean, I'm sick of reboots. Yeah, I'm really sick of reboots.
But unless you reboot it, I mean, you're not gonna get any more because, like you said, this alien can only run its course for a certain amount of movies until it kinda drops off. So maybe let it disappear for a while and then maybe bring it into again, but, I mean, yeah, that it's gonna be the same old until they give it a longer break. Because you figure, when was Covenant last out?
Covenant was like 2017.
So it's only
And
been
I think it
7
was
years, right?
2017. So doing hold on. Oh, yeah, Covenant was 2017.
Yeah, so
Prometheus was 2012. So like,
it's only been 7 years. Maybe give it a little bit longer to forget all the stories and then
well,
just come out with
but
one.
I don't think you need a reboot. I think like like we just did a new story. Like I do think I I do think that they needed to make clear what is canon and what's not, and so far so far Prometheus is canon and Covenant's canon, and that's all canon. But the safe thing that they did is it can be its own story. Like it's like a side story in between Alien and Aliens. I really thought that they were going to bring Ripley back in this movie. I thought that that was going to be the big cameo, that they were going to have Ripley there, but Sigourney Weaver's older. I thought, I didn't know how they were going to do things.
And she died in 3.
She died in 3,
And
just
I
like
don't know.
RDJ died as Iron Man.
Well, then again, they didn't really say after they crash land on Earth or wherever Alien Resurrection ends.
Yeah,
They don't really say what happens to her, I don't think. Like, maybe they could go off. I mean, she's old, so you can't really go off that anymore. So, unless you bring her back as, yes, these aliens, even though we thought they were upgrading humans, they get old. They end up dying, and then maybe going into a new route.
I
But
don't know. I don't know. I think you have them go against the corporation,
yeah, I mean, that
and
could be.
you reveal some other secrets that they have, something like that. So
And Sigourney Weaver could technically come back as, like, maybe she joins the team but dies quick. The clan dies quick, and they go on and beat the corporation, and it becomes Ripley something.
I don't know.
That'd be a way to bring her back to end it for
I
her.
al- I also I also would have really liked to see James Cameron come back and see what he
That
would,
too busy making blue aliens. So
which in Avatar Avatar is the most overrated movie franchise of all time. The first
did
one
you
is
watch the second one?
yeah, I went well, I went and saw it in 3D IMAX. I had to because
I watched it for free on TV.
well, seeing it in like 3D IMAX made it quite a visual experience.
Yeah.
But after like an hour and a half of all this water stuff, you're like, is this movie over yet? Oh no, it still has 2 more hours. Like it's just too much.
But yeah, that would have been nice if Cameron and Cameron gave some things with Alvarez. Like Alvarez do the movie, but like Ridley Scott, bring James
Yeah,
Cameron to give his type of things. I think that would have made Romulus probably better.
I agree because Aliens is top notch. So yeah, so that's our reviews. That's our rankings. If you like this podcast, be sure to leave a 5-star review and follow and subscribe on the podcast player of your choice. And check out our YouTube channel. Tell your friends. This is Brian, the last survivor of the Nostromo, signing off with cousin Steve. We
I
hope this
thought I died there for a second. I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't survive?
well,
Did an alien burst out my chest?
no, you fell into that hot lava.
Ah, okay. I did the sacrifice and died in lava.
I'm just teasing. That's a line from Aliens. So I wanted to sound cool. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I know. That's
This
why I
is
went.
Brian and Steve, the last survivors of the Nostromo, signing off. We hope this podcast thrilled you. We hope it shocked you. And if nothing else, we hope it left you gravely amused.